Hey there folks, Wrel here. In the background you'll see some PlanetSide 2 gameplay while I share some of my thoughts on better gaming. This episode I want to talk about free-to-play games, or rather why I think free-to-play is ruining the quality of our games today. And while the last episode was geared kind of toward this topic, it was geared specifically towards unlocks and achievements. But I don't feel like I expressed things as well as I could have, so this is essentially my second shot at it. Now, there are a lot of good things that can come from games being free to play. I mean, it lowers the barrier of entry, meaning that more people can play the game regardless of their financial situation, and it lets you try a game before you decide to invest anything into it, be it your time or your cash, and it lets you pick up and leave off as you see fit. There's no financial attachment urging you to play, but that's kind of the problem. The freemium model, by many accounts, was popularized by an experiment done by the Hershey Corporation. They ran 2 tests. In the first, you could either buy a Hershey's Kiss for 1 cent or a Rocher for 26 cents, and the results actually showed that it was about a 50-50 split. Half the people would go for the Hershey's Kiss and the other half would go for the Rochers. In the second test, the Hershey's Kiss was free and the Rocher was 25 cents. And this changed things drastically. 90% of the people chose the free Hershey's Kiss over the Rocher. So think about it. It's when the Hershey's Kiss cost a penny, half of the people chose it and half chose the other chocolate. It's a penny. I mean, you find them on the street, under your couch, in your dryer, and nowadays they're really only useful for having a conversation about how useless they are. The reason this is important is because psychologically we are either going to spend money or we aren't. And the amount of money matters less than the decision to spend some at all. Think about how many times you've said, well, if I'm going to spend the money, I might as well get the better one, or the upgraded version, or the deluxe, or whatever, right? So if we are going to spend the money, we might as well spend money. Likewise, gamers fall into 2 camps: those that don't mind paying for a game and those that do. The purpose of having a free trial is to give enough time for the new users to get hooked on the product so that they want to pay for a better version of it. When you look at free-to-play games specifically, there are always microtransactions involved. You can play the game for as long as you like, but if you want to level up quicker, look cooler, or have better weapons, you're gonna dish out some cash. Free-to-play developers capitalize on our desire to get new shiny things, and they can just keep shoveling us easy to produce garbage content because they know that they're going to make money off of us if we're open to spending it. My argument is that subscription-based games don't have this problem. Everyone is paying the same price every month. There is a reliable income there. So instead of focusing on producing the shiny things or putting older, less shiny stuff on sale, they can focus specifically on adding depth to the game. They could focus on fixing the bugs and developing the game as a whole. Think about it. I mean, really think about it. If you have a free-to-play game, you're banking on big numbers. So let's say you have 100,000 people playing this free-to-play game, right? And 10% of those people are going to pay $60 this year on it. So that's, $600,000. Now let's say you're a subscription-based game with only 20,000 players. So your player base is going to be, for the purposes of this demonstration, 20% of what the free-to-play game's player base would be. Now let's say that 100% of those people are paying $10 a month, and 100% obviously, because if it's a subscription-based game, they are all going to be paying for it. So let's say that they're paying $10 a month, so 20,000 times $120, because $10 a month, 12 months out of the year, is 2,400,000. So even though you have a smaller community, you're still making more money, and these are just made up numbers. But that's the general scheme of things, is that free-to-play games, they have to shotgun, just spray everybody with this free-to-play, whatever, to entice people to eventually maybe think about perhaps purchasing something later on. That's eventually how they're going to get money out of you. But according to Ubisoft, or Ubisoft, or however you pronounce it, and that's the company that made the Assassin's Creed series, only about 5 to 7% of PC gamers actually pay for a free-to-play game. So when I was using the 10% figure, that's kind of being generous. 5 to 7% of players who play the game, the free-to-play game, will pay for purchases in that game. Now, when you're a subscriber, the development team absolutely has to make the game better on every level. They are beholden to the players because the life of the game depends on it. That's not to say that free-to-play games don't have their place. I mean, PlanetSide 2 obviously needed a massive player base, not only to make a profit, but because the entire game revolves around absolutely massive player versus player battles. So their business strategy kind of makes sense. I've already mentioned the two camps that gamers fall into, willing to pay and not willing to pay. But I also need to mention the difference between time and money. There were so many amazing games that came out in 2012, and I only have so much time. So where do I invest my attention? Where do I invest my time? My decisions to buy new games were dependent on how much time I had to play them, or rather, how much time I would like to spend playing them. I mean, I didn't buy Dishonored because I was playing the crap out of Tribes Ascend. I stopped playing Tribes Ascend after I got back into Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, and I stopped playing Mass Effect again because I got into PlanetSide 2 and some other games. But time is finite. I mean, you can only spend so much of it. So some players have more time than others, some players have more money than others, and some have both. I mention this because when it comes to free-to-play games, you can spend money and get what you want more quickly, or instead of spending money, you spend more time. And the last option is that you are really casual and you just don't care about the life of the game either way. So really think about that for a second. You either have players who are trying to get a leg up on other players by paying cash, or players who care about and enjoy the game but they're not paying, and then players who don't really care either way. So who do you think that the devs are going to listen to when it comes to feedback? Who do you think they're going to try to please? In a subscription-based game, devs have to listen to everyone. The fight is no longer about getting the non-paying players to start paying, it's about giving all the players incentive to keep playing. These are my thoughts on free-to-play versus pay-to-play, but I'd really like to hear yours. What's your take? I mean, is the free-to-play model ruining the games that we play today, like I'm trying to convey? Or am I just blowing things out of proportion? I mean, do you think that all games are going to be free-to-play one day? You know, that's something I'd like to hear, so please just let me know in the comments below. But until next time, thanks very much, folks. Wrel signing off.